Shalom. Shalom to the chat. I hope everybody is doing well. We're just going to give it a few more minutes. I know I'm a little early, and then we will get started. But I hope everybody is doing well no matter where you are in this world. And if you have clear skies, don't forget to get out there and look at that buck moon tonight. Shalom, Pink Meadows. Okay. Hello. Shalom, Jamal Bey. Erica J. Shalom. Shalom to everybody. Shalom, Cherokee. Kisan and dark skinned brother. Shalom. Danielle, I want to thank you for the email. I deeply appreciate you. And I'm doing okay. You know, like I told y'all yesterday, I have a mild version. For me, it has not been so bad that I've been knocked down by it. So I am grateful that the Most High has spared me. You know, if I have to get it, then this is what I'm glad I got. I got the mild version of it. And we know how bad the Delta really truly is. So for me to have it, just a mild symptoms, I'm deeply grateful. Trust me, I am deeply grateful. Because I mean, I have been looking at the local news and I have seen people completely knocked down by this thing. So I'm not taking nothing for granted at all. Yes, I did. I went over there actually and I thanked Brother Harvey and his subscribers for their prayers. Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Simply Sandra. I don't feel bad. I am feeling some of the symptoms, but over the past week, it never really got severe for me. So hopefully, when next week come, I'm praying that I won't feel anything. I'll feel like myself again. Thank you, Kisan. Thank you. Yes, I would recommend you wear your mask, and just do what you're doing. Just do what you're doing. Nobody is asking for this at all. It happens and you just have to deal with it the best that you can. It could be for a number of reasons why. It doesn't mean that you're not doing the right thing. The Most High also tests us to see where our faith is. So if you get hit with this, how are you going to handle it? Are you going to still be strong in your faith? Or are you going to fall apart and act like you shouldn't get it? So how strong is your faith? I say my faith is probably stronger than ever. I was not being unrealistic about this whole thing, to be honest with you. I knew sooner or later there was a chance I could get it. No matter how much you separate yourself, you still got to somewhat do interaction with people. You can't 100% cut yourself off. And last year, I had prayed and I told the I prayed to the Most High and I asked him, if I do get it, please just give me something mild. I don't want to be knocked down. And never say he don't answer prayers. He does. I got it and I never got knocked down by this, y'all. I still feel some of the symptoms, but let me tell you, it's very mild. And I'm grateful. And it's been like this for me all week. Very mild symptoms. So it was easier to deal with it, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like I said, I hope I can fully bounce back within the next week or so. So, look, I'm already here. I have to deal. I have no choice but to deal with it. Mhm. So I'm grateful I didn't have any breathing problems. I don't believe it ever got into my lungs. Like some people, it reaches their lungs and then they have issues with breathing. I never felt it going into my lungs, or if you're breathing, it hurts because it's there. You can still survive it even if it gets in your lung, but you may have, some shortness of breath. But thank you to everybody that sent me emails and wished me well and offered some of the remedies that you use every day. Trust me, I am deeply grateful. I am. And I do take into consideration your suggestions, especially if it's something that I never did before. I'm not going to just say, oh, well, I don't do that. Moving. No, I might actually try some of the teas that you're talking about, or some of the supplements you're recommending, or, I really do. I don't mind trying things. I mean, what can it really harm if I try some of your suggestions? Um, okay, Randall Sparks, thank you for the super chat. My daughter calms down when she hears your voice. Please get well soon. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes. Yeah, I gotta go over there and thank our brother Big Levi too. And Big Judah, he dropped me an email. So I'm really, like I said, I'm grateful. And Hood Mistress, I'm sorry. I know you did. I think you did a super chat yesterday, and I skipped you, and I'm so sorry I did. I am grateful that you made a donation, and I did not mean to skip you. Yes, I take vitamin C, Mike. I'm sorry, vitamin B every day, and I actually like taking vitamin B because it gives me energy. Cedar and cypress tress. Okay. I love ginger tea, black magic. I can drink that all day long and never get sick of it. In fact, what I did yesterday, I had 2 32 ounces of ginger tea, and the last tea I had at night was the sour sop. I had that just before, maybe like an hour before I went to sleep. Me, I love tea. I love different teas, and trust me, I can drink tea over any soda or um, sweet juice or anything like that. I'll take tea any day of the week. Hmm. Okay, orange juice, dark skinned brother. Okay. Zinc 3 days a week also. Okay, Mike C. I'm doing okay, Onika. I'm doing okay. True Royal was doing she was doing a little worse than me. And ever since I found out she has it, I've been calling her practically every day and checking on her. So she's hanging in there. And I spoke to her for about an hour this morning, and she's doing pretty well. She's still feeling the symptoms, but it has not completely knocked her down. So that's a good thing. The ghost tiger, what I am planning on doing after I'm completely out of the woods with this, I'm going to go straight into a detox just so I can try to cleanse all of it out of my body. And, I have everything I need to do my detox. And that's what I plan on doing as soon as I'm done with this whole thing. I'm just going to go straight into a detox. Yes, exquisite coils. Prayer definitely heals. I prayed when I realized I had it. I prayed to the Most High that it would not progress and get real bad. And trust me, He answered my prayers. He did. He answered my prayers. And as far as my son, he had that one bad day. And then after that, I mean, he's doing better. In fact, I checked on him before I came on here live, and he was sitting up and in his room and he looked fine. So trust me, as soon as your prayers will be answered. If you want it to be a short time with this thing, just, our Father said, just come and seek His face and He will answer. And He certainly did answer me. Okay, D Knight, thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, we're like I said, we're not that bad off. But one thing I do know, because like I said, when I get sick, a lot of times I'll tend to go out and research the illness and research the treatment. And I happened to go back to India because this is where everything started with this Delta. And India started out where people got it, but in the very beginning, not that many people died. It wasn't until weeks later, then they got hit with a flood of fatalities from this. And that's how it was for them. So in America, I'm just sitting back and waiting to see what's coming down the pike for America. Because, this, if you look, because mainstream news, they're not going to talk about this. They're trying to paint this fake out picture of America being a certain way, and they're just not telling the truth. But if you look online, you can actually go and look at the map for your state, and it will show you how much of it is in your area and the percentage of people that are going to the hospital. They got it all broken down. And where I am, the Northeast, New Jersey, and New York got it the worst in the Northeast. And then it's a big amount of it in the Midwest. It is really big. I think that's where the most is concentrated, in the Midwest. And California, it's dominating in California too. And we know how fast everything changes. You may look at that this week. By next week, the map will look completely different. Yeah, thank you. I did see that. And I am going to respond to Big Levi and his subscribers. And trust me, I am always appreciative for anybody that prays for me. Thank you, Bert. Shalom, Loveline. In Northern California, Mike C. Yeah, that's where True Royal is. She's in the northern part of California. Mhm. Yeah, simply Sandra, my uncle lives in Florida, and he told me that too. He said it's really bad down there. Mhm. And one thing you really do, if you happen to get it, drink a lot of fluids. This is no joke. I drink I drunk 80 ounces of water, 32 ounces of tea yesterday, and when I woke up this morning, y'all, my lips were still dry. I was trying to get dehydrated, and I was like, "Wow, this thing ain't no joke." It is no joke. You really do have to take down a lot of fluid. You would think all the fluid that I drunk, I would not have dry lips, but I woke up, my lips were dry because my body was trying to dehydrate again. So I had to get up, reload up on water, and start all over again. Right now, I got some soursop tea and I got a 40-ounce cup of water. So I'm working on that and I'm getting ready to go back and get another cup of tea. But it really does dehydrate the hell out of you. Now, that's one thing I do notice. Yeah, dark skinned brother. Yes. Yes. That's the one thing I notice. Probably the biggest thing I notice is the level of how bad the dehydration is. So if you're not the kind of person that like to drink, you're going to have to change gears if you happen to get hit with this. That is probably one of the most pertinent things they said you have to do when you have this is it's very important to keep yourself hydrated. Yeah, a lot of it is airborne. Mhm. Yeah. Monica, I'm like you. I can't, and I had, like I said, I had my tea almost like an hour before I went to sleep. And then when I woke up, and that's another thing, you have a lot of broken sleep when you have it. The first night, I think I woke up 3 times, and that's when I realized something was wrong. Now, it's like twice. It's annoying, especially if you don't like broken sleep. It's really annoying. But that's another part of it. You will experience a lot of broken sleep. Some people have a lot of dreams when they have COVID too. I've heard that from some of the people that went through it, and they were talking about how their dreams kind of escalated during that time too. Mm-hmm. Sinetta, you said I drink a lot to qualify as a fish. Uh-huh. That's what you feel like. You really do. Thank you, Rojo. Thank you so much for your well wishes. All right, y'all. We are going to get into this story that I absolutely thought was interesting. And it had some facts in here that I didn't even know. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we're going to get started with this one. Okay. If you can see my screen, please give me a 1. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's get started here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of people coming and going in the job market. In fact, it's very volatile right now. You have a flood of people retiring. a flood of people turning in resignations, and you have, I think, 9.2 million jobs that are unfilled across America right now. So this came out in the OhioNewsTime.com. Black workers outnumber white workers in participating in the labor force. And they said this has only happened 2 times in history. Now, I know some of you would think it was chattel slavery, right? It wasn't. Okay. And we'll get to that real soon. So this article came out on the 22nd of July, 2021. June job report brought good news and bad news. The employers added 850,000 jobs. This is a sign of progress in increasing jobs and reducing restrictions. Meanwhile, the overall labor force participation rate, which tracks the proportion of workers and job seekers age 16 and over, remained unchanged from 61.6% in May, down from 63.3% before the pandemic. In other words, workers are returning to the labor force over time. But Black worker statistics may tell another story. For actually, this is the second time since 1972. 1972. They said in 1972, there were actually more Black people working in America than white people. And now in 2021, this is the second time this has happened. I didn't even realize that happened in 1972. All right, for the first time since 1972, the labor force participation rate of Black workers is 61.6%, exceeding that of white workers at 61.3%. Although economists see this change as more, they said it's like an anomaly, but really think about it. Think about what they have gone through. Low birth rate. Now, especially among children, they are in the minority. And for the people 18 to 25, they also outnumber whites that are 18 to 25. And last year, I did a story, and according to that story, it was more Black and Latinos in the workforce than whites that were 18 to 24. So these changes are going to happen. Okay. All right, let me just go down a little. Janelle Jones, chief economist at the U.S. Department of Labor, emphasized that the economy is still in a temporary stage. All of the data was particularly volatile, said Jones of Lorain, Ohio. Even the means we usually use for predictive behavior, we have just come out of the window, and we are still trying to understand it. We see the labor force participation rate of Black workers rise. It's exciting, but I don't want to say that this is a new common sense. I think it is going to be the new normal, y'all. Especially after that census that I showed y'all yesterday. I think this is going to be the new normal. And it kind of takes you back to that 13% of the population. But we are the most visible, the biggest group out in the workforce. Oh, okay. That's really interesting, isn't it? Since the pandemic, the employment to population ratio of Black workers, the ratio of those who are working and no longer seen has risen slowly. As of June, this percentage was 55.9 for Black workers and 58.1 for white workers and 58 overall. The general ratio before the pandemic was 61.1%. If the ratio of the employment to population is low, it means that they aren't actually connecting to employment, Jones said. And to be honest, the unemployment rate for Black workers is still very high, 9.2%. If the overall unemployment rate is 9.2%, we would have been running around like our hair on fire. Sometimes I'm disappointed when people say we're on the way to recovery when 9.2% of Black workers are still in a very financial crisis and millions of workers are facing not this Ministry of Labor and this White House devastation. By comparison, the national unemployment rate is 5.9%. Now, you know, they always lowball the unemployment number. They've always done that. And preliminary data shows Ohio unemployment rate in June was 5.2%. Still, like everyone else, Black workers may feel optimistic as employers raise wages to get people back to work, Jones said. Workers are now gaining bargaining power, which is when Black workers do their best. Probably a worker who has been absent from work for a year. Maybe I don't want to work with a $2.13 minimum wage. Hint, I have to cough. I don't take paid leave. I never get sick. There is, Jones said, I think it's amazing. It's seen in an industry where Black and brown workers, especially Black and brown women, are overvalued. Well, I got a story coming out tomorrow. One of Joe Biden's economic advisors, he came straight out and told employers to give people more money, offer better wages, and you won't have a shortage. So we'll see how that goes over. I don't think anybody's going to listen to that man, though. It is important to emphasize that the labor force factor is also trafficking those who look for a job. And Blacks may not be able to afford to stop looking, even for low-paying jobs. On average, we know that Black workers are unlikely to have financial cushions or wealth of generations, which y'all sabotaged us so we're not like that. And that could cushion during this time. Overall, labor force participation rate has been declining for decades. The proportion of white workers has followed a trend, but Black workers, especially men, have been on the rise in recent years, except for, last year, during the lockdown. And this economist, Bill Lafayette, is saying the reason why we're seeing such a big decline in the white population and the labor force is because of their age. Remember, right now in America, the white community is the oldest in the country, which means they by far have the most elderly in their population. In fact, that's their biggest population. And with you having so many of them retiring, that's why their numbers are way down. Men's participation has been declining for decades since the 1940s. Men are living longer, and many of us are old enough to retire. Meanwhile, the labor force participation rate for women has risen steadily since around 2000, and that began to decline. And overall participation was rising until around 2000 when women were joining the workforce, and now women's retirements dominate the entry into the workforce. Yeah, so many left, and they weren't all retiring. A lot of them had childcare issues, and they just couldn't be out there working. And their kids are home all day long because of the lockdown. Lafayette speculates that the rise in the labor force participation of Black workers is due to the age difference between the Black and white populations. Right. The Black population is a much younger population. The average median age for the Black population is about 40, where for whites, it's more closer to 60. So they are an older population. The share of the Black population in the United States over 65 is 10.6%, but 17.3% of the whites are over 65. Therefore, the much more steady participation of Black workers in the workforce certainly reduces the decline that would otherwise occur, right? Because we got more younger Black people out in the workforce than older, and technically the way it looks for us is really the norm, but it's not anymore. It's not anymore for every group. Okay. Let's go down. As far as increasing the labor force participation, Black workers, Logan said, he hopes more research will be done across America's labor market. In some areas, important employees were already paid high wages, he said. Do you see the faster growth in areas where wages of key employees are rising fast on average? Do you think the labor force participation rate is rising faster? Preliminary data shows that Ohio's overall labor force participation was at 60.2% in June, up from 59.9% in May. However, the data is not demographic or organized by the city. So, what I'm wondering, y'all? You know how inmates get out of jail after they serve their time, or they get out of a halfway house? I want to know if they're going to be so desperate to hire these people after they have locked them out of the job force for the long time. They'll give their criminals second chances, but when it comes down to the Black and brown criminals that serve their time, they don't want to give you a second chance. That's how they are. But I think they're going to have to become less picky as time goes on. All right. So that's pretty much it. Wow. I mean, like I said, I didn't know in 1972 that was the case. There were more Black people in the workforce than white people that year, too. So that was pretty interesting to find that out. Oh, you know what, Lee Harris? I don't blame nobody for retiring during the pandemic. Shoot, you got some sense as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Look Up. It is very interesting. I'm even wondering what part of the country had the most jobs that Blacks were working in 1972. But you know what? We were the main ones out there. Think about this. When everything got locked down, we were the main essential workers out there. Think back. Every time, they would say, oh, Black people are dying more, but they never went that extra step to tell you why. The reason why they were dying the way that they were is because a big bulk of your essential workers are Black. And many of them were interacting with customers and other employees that were sick. And that's how they got sick and died. So, yes, it looked like Black people were getting it more, but no, Black people were holding the majority of these essential jobs. They were working in supermarkets as cashiers. Many of them were working in, some of them were working in like nursing homes, and they had to keep going to those jobs to care for the elderly. And they just had a lot of exposure. And that's really what happened. It's not that we get it more than any other group. We were the main bulk of the essential workers. And that's one point the media would never, ever say. They just make it seem like we are more susceptible than anybody else on the earth. And that is just false. That's not true at all. No, right? No, they will never appreciate it. That's true. Mm-hmm. And it'll be the same way if there was another lockdown. You'll see primarily our people. Look who you saw out there. Bus drivers, they are Black. The people that work on a lot of these subways around the country, they're Black. Okay. A lot of teachers, depending on certain areas, you may have more Black teachers in some areas than others. And childcare, a lot of Black women are in childcare. And stores, I mean, when do you walk in Walmart and not see Black employees? I sure see them around here. We see Black employees in the supermarkets and all the retail stores. We're really out there. We're really out there. Yeah, airlines, that's true. Bus drivers, damn near every bus driver I ever see around here, they're Black men. Mm-hmm. Security guards, you're right. Look up. Yeah, Rojo, I have to agree. I think there is another one coming, another lockdown. I do agree with that. Yeah, nurses in the hospital, a lot of like around here, the times I've been in there, especially when my mom was alive, I think every single orderly in the hospital was Black. Every single one that I saw up there, they were Black men. And I know the janitors up at the hospital, because I saw them cleaning the floor, they were always Black men up in those hospitals doing that. Mm-hmm. Mail carriers, you got that right, Armia Benton. So that's why it just disturbed me every time they try to, and they still do it even to this very day. Oh, they get it. They die more than any other group. It's really bad. Well, why don't you see who's working out here and see who's working out here in big numbers opposed to everyone else? Okay, Cherokee Descendant King. I'm a security officer that's been working in nursing homes. Okay. See, you've been out there the whole time. Yeah, barbers, hairdressers. I mean, really, in Iowa, you have mostly Black bus drivers. I'm not surprised. It's really not that many Black people there. That's why I'm also having doubts, because they'll say we have it the most, but the Midwest have the most of it. And the states that they list, it ain't hardly none of us in those states. And I was like, wait a minute, how come we have the Idaho and um Idaho, Colorado. I mean, I know Black people are there, but they're not there in big numbers. So I don't see how we can have it the most. It just doesn't make sense to me. You think October? Yeah. I would say, I think you're right. I think it'll be in the next 60 to 90 days. And they're going to stay on this quest of blaming unjabbed people for the whole thing. And it is completely false. It's completely false. Let me show y'all something. I'm not going to talk about this, but I will show it. Here we go. I want to show y'all this. All right. Look at this title. This came out on July 21st, 2021 in The Hill. Trust me, CNN will never put this on. Okay? They will never put this on. Yeah, they're trying to, they are pushing an agenda. Cherokee Descendant King, they are pushing an agenda. And this is why all of the networks sound exactly the same. CNN, MSNBC, and CNBC, all of them, they sound exactly the same because they are pushing an agenda. And they're not telling the truth. There is no such thing as a virus that's going to skip over some people and come to other people. It's just a straight up lie. You saw what that title said, right? Did it look like it skipped over them? And this month ain't even over. That is what they're saying so far for this month. This month is not even over. Okay? It's not over. Thank you, Unicorn 101. Thank you for this information. You're welcome. Antoine R. Irvin. Hello, Queen Lisa C. in room. Hope you get better. Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate that. Yes, Black intelligence, I heard it was causing inflammation of the heart. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. I read about that. Yeah, I'm hearing about people getting fired now if they don't take the jab. And I don't think that's right. You know, as adults, I mean, look, everybody is not vaccinated now. There's a lot of people. I knew a couple of people, the childhood vaccines I got, they never got. I went to school with some people that never got any vaccines because their parents would not allow it. So we have actually been mixed up like that as a population already. So I don't understand why it would be so much of a problem now. There's always been people around us that didn't get shots. It's always been that way. Yeah. Chanel, yeah, they are. She says a lot of people got the jab and are still getting Rona. Yeah. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of glad someone wrote that article showing that, yeah, these people got both and look at what happened. They still went to the grave. Black Voltron Reloaded, thank you so much for the super chat. Good afternoon. Big B1, salute to you. At Lisa Cabrera, hopefully you're feeling better and doing well. Thanks again for this critical information. You are welcome. Thank you. Well, some of them did, and some actually didn't. Some did have pre-existing conditions and some did not. So it was really a mixed bag. When I started reading not only this article, but other articles, everybody didn't have a pre-existing condition. Yes, Danielle, so am I. I don't eat shellfish, and and you have to watch that kind of stuff. You have to watch that with really everything, because they'll sneak in something that you're allergic to where you think it wouldn't be in the food, but it is. Okay. Cinnamon Star 808. Thank you for the super chat. I took Caribbean medicine, no CV for of my family members went to the ER with CV. All four had the 3 major jabs. Wow, 3 jabs? I told them to go back to self. Wow. That is really deep. Yeah. But Lee Harris, let me tell you something. I read an article, and this must have been back in towards the end of June. And it said 15.9 Americans took the first jab and never ever went back for the second one. That's a lot of people. They got the first one. Now, I don't know if they got sick or they were just scared to go back and get the next one, but they never ever went back for the second one. So, America, they got a problem. It just tells me deep down inside, people really don't want to do this. That's what it tells me. People don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. Oh, Lee, your brother did that. He took one and never went back for the second one. Okay. Yeah, they said a lot of people have done that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't, Yaya, I don't know if they got sick or they were just too afraid to go back and get the second one, you know? Mm. Yeah, I think when they get desperate, because they really truly want this economy back and they know it's not going well. The George Macon experience, they know everything is not going well in America right now. They're not getting the economy back. People are not working like they thought they were going to run back out here and work. And I was just looking at an article before I came on here, and it was talking about how 500,000 hotel jobs are not coming back. 500,000. Well, Black Voltron Reloaded, I was reading they already are knocking on people's doors. Joe Biden wants people, public health folks, to go door to door knocking and talk to people that did not take the shot about getting it. And I was like, okay, well, how would they know that? According to HIPAA, nobody is supposed to know about what's in your medical records and what you got and what you didn't get. So all of that is just fake. They do know. They do know. Then why are you telling us about all this HIPAA stuff? And nobody is supposed to know our information. But if you're going door to door talking to people that didn't get it, then then y'all know what our medical records say. Yeah, I mean, how would they know who got it and who don't and which door to go to? Then they must know. They must know some kind of way. You're right about that, JD Maccabees. If you're always on the go, how are they going to get to you? You're right about that. I don't think they should either, Unicorn 101. We're at the end of the day, whether you like the fact whether somebody got a jab or not, we're all adults. We're all adults. And as an adult, I don't think somebody should be deciding what I get. I resent that. I really do. Yeah, I don't know what part of the country they are in, but I was hearing that folks are already getting those knocks. So, wow. Now, well, Patrick, Tyler, they're used to us being the guinea pigs up in here. And I think it blows their mind that they can't get us to be the guinea pigs anymore. I think it blows their mind. Wait, what's going on? We used to be able to easily get these Negroes to do anything we want. Not anymore. Not anymore. We love our forefathers, but we are not them. Loveline, thank you so much for the super chat. Lisa, you are well. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So far I haven't heard anything around here, but I'm not sure. You know, if, who knows? All I know is I just don't want anybody talking to me about something that I feel I should be deciding on my own. That's how I feel about that. They're doing it in North Carolina, Rojo. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. North Carolina, one state over from me. Okay. Okay. Well, y'all, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I thank all of you for being here. And we'll definitely do this again tomorrow. I do have another story that I want to go over with you. And we also have, the Bible study where we listen to Brother L. That will be tomorrow. And of course, all of you are welcome, and believe it or not, the group is actually getting bigger and bigger on the weekends, far from when we started out. I think when we started, we had a little, maybe over 40 people. Now we can hit 300 people now. It has changed, it's definitely evolving. So, y'all, please enjoy the rest of your day. I thank you all again for all of your well wishes and prayers. I thank you for all of the suggestions you made to me. You don't know how much I deeply appreciate each and every one of you. So, wherever you are, may the Most High always be with you. Shalom, family.